Welcome back, my Duelist friends. Casual Duelist here. It is another Friday. So welcome back. I've got another deck for you. As you can tell, Time Wizard's back. So it's a Time Wizard format. We moved ahead in the last couple of days. We moved ahead from March 8th to March 29th. On March 29th, 2 starter decks were revealed to us. We got our first official rule books, paper play mats. And technically, we would have got our first 3 times deck lists. So, Time Wizard, you get out of here. And we're going to start with Yugi Moto's deck. Now, back then, I know that the closer that you stayed to 40, the better. Built a 42-card main deck. This is my interpretation of what you would do at the end of March in 2002 with no ban list. Remember, the first restrictions ban list happens after these sets, and that's not till May 1st. So, just a little context. This is what you guys will be playing against at your locals. Because, again, I'm not sure the regionals were a thing yet. Maybe that's why nobody talks about pre-bans. So, we're just going to get into the list. First, we're going to be playing Dragon Zombie, and I do have one right here from SDY. So this guy's actually really old. And again, it's just a good monster. This immediately trumps all the 4 stars that we had in Legend of Blue Eyes. Back then, our toughest character was 50 points weaker than this, and that would be the Skull Redbird. So again, not terrible. It is a good upgrade. Plus, I love the way it looks. You would use 3. You'd also use 3 copies Giant Soldier of Stone. Again, these would be found in his in the Yugi starter deck, not just LOB. So this is like the first time we start seeing rarities drop. We would get that. We'll also get the Great White. Now, I know this is more of a Mako Tsunami card, and you'll have to forgive the condition of the one. I'm probably going to replace that one later. But Mako Tsunami did give us the Great White, and because of the way that the show had come out, generally they were just trying to fill the deck roster with some monsters. So again, this is an immediate upgrade off of everything we've already seen. We're going to use it. You're going to play 3 copies of the Man-Eater Bug. This is the first, or the second downgrade that we'll see. Originally super rare, these ones are regs, but it would be a common in the starter deck. And again, flip, destroy monster. This is very good, very easy to play. One of the first cards I got, because I did buy this as a single from a friend. One of my first favorite cards, I used to play this back in the OCG, was Neo the Magic Swordsman. Again, this raises the power cap again. This goes up to 17 now. Still not the toughest 4-star available. That would be in Kaiba's deck. That's going to be Lao Jin. But still a very notable mention. And used by just about everybody after they got their starter decks. Maybe they did this. Maybe they didn't do this. Maybe they went straight into the building. This guy would be in your deck. Next up, and again, I'm going to be sporting an original SDY. You're going to run 3 Summoned Skulls. And you're not going to run the Dark Magician. And I'm going to explain this to you. Yes, he has less defense. In fact, his defense is almost a rearranged defense from the Dark Magician. If we pull Dark Magician here real quick, you'll see the 1200 defense there to the 21 here. It's just a little flip-flop. The difference is the star level. Summoned Skull is 1 less star, which means it's actually going to be 1 less tribute. So as far as economy play goes, not just for playing the starter decks, but just playing in this format entirely, we're going to end up retiring things like Blue Eyes White Dragon because 2 tributes end up being too much. But Summoned Skull giving us the same power ranking as Dark Magician, that feels right. So we're going to go ahead, we're going to maximize and capitalize on that. And then our new best favorite defensive monster, the Wall of Illusion. And let's see, do we have any original SDYs or these are all Yugi evolutions? You guys might tell that these are my black sleeves, so this is like out of my regular master collection. So the way that this guy is going to work is he's 1850 defense with 1000 offense. It's a Fiend Wall. It gives me strong vibes of Doctor Who. If you guys know the episode, you know the episode. Anytime a monster attacks this, it will get returned to the owner's hand after damage calculation is applied. So Again, Neo the Magic Swordsman, it's going to take 150 recoil points, and then it's going to bounce. Same thing with even like La Jin. At the full 1800s, you're still going to take 50 points and bounce. But again, you can still get over this with other cards. Moving into our spells, we are going to use 2 card destructions. I know. Why am I not using 3? Because I just kind of threw these in at the end. I kind of figured since Pot of Greed was not in the starter deck, this makes up for it. And additionally, if you only had the $30 at this point in time, it's March 29th, it's March 30th, you want to play with all your friends who've already been playing back in 2002, you could go and you could buy 3 of this starter deck. And even if your friend was like the fancy pants Rich McGee that plays, Exodia all the time, you're going to be able to pitch his Exodia out of his hand and be able to like kind of defend yourself against that strategy now. Anybody who's still playing the bigger cards like Trihorn Dragon, Blue Eyes White, this opens you up to being able to Monster Reborn those cards immediately, as well as being able to play the card Destro, pitching your own Skull, and then reborning that as well. Like, it's a good card, but it does affect both players. And I just didn't want to overload the deck with it, because like it's good sparingly used. It's not so good going crazy. And again, this would be one of the 2 super rares in the deck. The other one is Soul Exchange, with Dark Magician being the Ultra. And unfortunately right now, because it's pre-ban, Soul Exchange is actually the weaker option to Change of Heart. Now, Change of Heart is going to be one of the first examples of upscaled rarity. This is actually sort of like basically pre-released, because we're going to get them as a common. In fact, here is my starter deck. Can we get some focus, please? This is my starter deck, Yugi. This is my SDY Magic Change of Heart right here. And I have replaced it with, what was that? Marvelous Mavens, Ultra Rares. But the beauty of it is it would get released in the next set. Actually, Summon Skull as well will both be released in Metal Raiders. And both of these cards will upscale to ultra rare. So again, we're starting to feed the whales. Whale meaning like rich players who have a ton of expendable income and just continually foil out their decks and or spend all the money so that they have all the cards. But again, Change of Heart with no repercussions, no need for you to skip your battle phase. Being able to take the monster and actually just use it as part of your offensive onslaught while removing their defender. Whatever the reason, Change of Heart is super good, and you would not play Soul Exchange over it. Unless somehow, like, I'm wrong, which, again, I could be. But if you don't have to give up your battle phase, why would you? Next up, we're going to use 2 Dark Holes. Again, this got downgraded to common from the super rares of the first set. This is good stuff. And again, 2, because, again, I felt like 3 was maybe just too many, especially when some of the threats can be dealt with in other ways now. 2 copies of D-Spell. D-Spell gets its release here and like a handful of starter decks, I think, before it gets some other print runs later. The way this works is you get to destroy a spell card on the field. If your target is a face-down card, you will flip, reveal it. It does not get activated at this time. If it is a spell card, destroy it. If it is a trap, put it back face down with the knowledge that you failed to destroy it. D-Spell would be used as a single to a double, depending on how many Swords of Revealing Light you're seeing in your locals. It's also one of the first cards to throw when you go for side deck options if they're not playing it. And it's also a carefree card to throw away with card destruction, just to sort of ensure the fact that you will get at least one other card back. Last but not least, for the spells, we are going to run 3 copies Monster Reborn. This is self-explanatory. Target a monster in any graveyard, special summon it back to your side of the field. Again, with the double card destruction, again, potentially 3, because again, I'm not giving you guys side decks when I'm doing this. So just assume that if there's a card that you want, that's where it's at. This is just supposed to be like educational and also for funsies. You guys are free to make any adjustments you like. One of the trap cards that did the most work at this point in time would be Reinforcements. I love this trap card. Yes, it was in all the starter. I think it was in all the starter decks, actually. I think even Pegasus and Joey got it, maybe. What it does is you select one monster card on your side of the field, give that monster 500 attack during the turn that this card is activated. Wears off during the end phase. This is how you could attack over the Wall of Illusion. This is how you could attack over the 2K Defenders now. This allows you to attack over with everybody, including the 1600s. Generally speaking, you would also have, like a normal play would have 1700, Battle Ox and Neo plus Login at 18. This would allow you to do just tons of overage and be able to clear the way. Next up, you're still going to be using 3 copies of Trap Hole because, again, as we power scale up, the normal summon is very important. I'm not saying that there aren't a ton of Monster Reborns, but that's what Reinforcements is going to be for. That's what Dark Hole is going to be for. That's what Change of Heart's going to be for. That's what Man-Eater Bug is there for, is to help you deal with those threats. And then last but not least, this was crazy because the way this was worded, and let's see if we've got one of the, we do. We've got one of the more original printings. So we're going to run 3 copies of Waboku. Now, this has been officially changed, the text later, and I got 2 copies here. This way you guys could see how it changes. Originally says any damage inflicted by an opponent's monster is decreased to 0 during the turn this card is activated. This is also meant to be interpreted as also for your monsters. So your monsters take no damage and you take no damage. They changed this later on by saying you take no damage this turn and your monsters cannot be destroyed by battle this turn. The effect was always the same, but they did change the text later on just to reflect how it worked. So for those of you who want to argue about time period, like, no, that's not how that worked back then because we didn't have the word excavate or what's one of my favorite cards that has changed? Like Ring of Destruction. The order in which it did damage. Crush card has officially had its effect changed. There are cards where this has been a thing. And in the time period play, you must play that the way it was played. But Waboku was always played this way. They just changed the wording to make it easier to understand and less room for interpretation. Now, this is my version of a starter deck Yugi times 3. Again, this would be available moving forward between March... again, 29th and the end of April, because as soon as May 1st hit, we had our first set of restrictions. So that's it. Hopefully you guys loved this or liked it at least. If you did, consider supporting the channel, like, comment, sub. We do always leave the Buy Me a Coffee down in the description. But only do that if you actually have extra and you really believe in the channel and you want to help us get sleeves and stuff. Because that's not always the move for everybody. Sometimes all you can do is watch the videos and give me a thumbs up. And honestly, that's more than enough for me. Moving forward, I'm going to try to throw this to like Thursdays. Sort of like a throwback Thursday going through the Time Wizard. Or maybe we'll do Time Wizard Tuesday and Thursdays. And get you 2 videos, but we'll probably just make it 1. Next time, I will give you guys a 3 times for Kaiba on the same time period, okay? So for now, you guys have an excellent day, and do something for the mental health. Go out there. Make sure that you do the self-care, my friends. See you next time. Bye.